My 40 male, wife 44 female, cheated with her friend's husband, both early 30s-ish, before she and I ever met. Yes, I'm concerned. But should I just let sleeping dogs lie? My wife made a mistake while we were conversing 2 nights ago, which prompted me to probe her and led to her disclosing that, before I knew her, she had a 6-month affair with one of her friend's husbands, who are now also my friends. This was before our buddy and the spouse were married. This allegedly occurred 8 years ago, roughly a year before she and I met. It certainly worries me a lot. However, I can't think of anything I should do as a result of that. Her companion is unaware of it, and it was allegedly limited to those 6 months. We've been married for 6 years, and I had no idea, nor would I have suspected it. Should I just leave sleeping dogs alone? Update. When I was married, I had a conversation with my wife that went beyond the what and when and into the context of why and how could. My wife and husband's first time alone was after she cared for their dog for 2 weeks while her buddy and her husband were both out of town on separate business trips, which was their first time together. On the Wednesday of the second week, my husband arrived home, and he took my wife out to dinner as a way of saying thank you. This resulted in a lot of drinking. However, she wasn't able to keep her drinks under control quite as effectively as he was. Her friend and her husband's house, they had gone to the restaurant together, with him driving. She was completely out of it, and she would have to wait around their house for a few more hours before driving herself back to her apartment. The two of them began talking about the more serious and heartfelt aspects of their lives, with him informing her that his and her friend's marriage was not going so well, him seeking advice, each piece of advice being rejected for various reasons, and the conversation progressing to something more, with him suggesting the best solution right now is for me to have someone like you to talk, but my wife wouldn't like me talking one-on-one frequently like that, so she was against it, and her saying but my wife wouldn't. They ultimately got to the point of making out and all that, and then they had intercourse and she stayed the night with them. They kept in touch in secret, and the pattern continued much the same as it had been that night, but without the enormous amounts of alcohol. She attributed part of it to her misplaced sympathy for the husband, part to their physical attraction to one another, part to her guilt-ridden realization that it hasn't been going on for X weeks/months now, so I guess continuing to be the one to whom he turns for temporary happiness doesn't make me any worse or guiltier as a person at this point, and part to her self-continued esteem's affirmation as a result of it. He gradually started to seek and demand more and more of her time and attention, to the point where her whole life consisted of catering to his requirements, and being able to sneak away for a few hours here and there was no longer possible. Eventually, the embarrassment and stress of it all forced her to remove herself from the situation, and they stopped to be emotionally and linked with one another purportedly on good terms as a result. While she first avoided them, and most of her social circle, she eventually felt far enough away that she started to re-enter it, even when one or both of them were there. Since then she's learned to put it out of her mind, and it's now just a recollection of a prior mistake from which she learned and which she seldom thinks about anymore. She says she hasn't told me because she is embarrassed about what she has done. Since she had learned her lesson, she persuaded herself that it was not essential for her to tell me from the beginning of our relationship that she would be emotionally vomiting on me. Then as time went on, her anxiety that whatever lingering fight she had from it would be lost evaporated, and she came to the conclusion that it was worthless to ever tell me. She hasn't told her friend because she doesn't want to be the one who ends her friend's and her husband's marriage by telling them the truth. In the event that he has found another woman with whom to cheat, she feels it is his issue, not hers. She asserts that she has never had a relapse experience with him, and that she has never done something comparable before or after meeting me, which is a lie. However, despite the fact that I strongly disagree with her and feel it was significant enough for her to inform me at some point, especially after we've been married for many years, I decided not to divorce her or take any other action against her. Basically, you should forgive her. I don't believe it is my responsibility to notify her buddy, but I did tell her that it would make me feel a whole lot better if she informed and apologized to her friend. After all, this time, I don't feel it is my place to insist that she reveal everything to her friend, and I believe it is sufficient to voice my discontent with her failure to do so. She and I should maintain a significant amount of space from her friend and her husband going forward. I will be the one to explain to the spouse why this is the case, so he understands that I am aware of the situation. In addition, I'm concerned that I won't be able to lower my guard around my wife for an extended period of time. However, I did inform her that if I ever discovered that she was cheating on me, I would no longer be able to be in her company. Yes, individuals grow and learn, and forgiveness is possible. And this is basically what is taking here. Her subsequent infidelity, on the other hand, would indicate a lack of progress. My major dilemma right now is knowing that I should absolutely maintain a relationship with my wife, but also knowing that I'll have a difficult time getting all of this out of my head, and also knowing that avoiding a relationship with her would backfire and make her more prone to straying. This is, however, a little diversion from my original topic, so I'll stop there. Story 2. Should I break up with my long-distance girlfriend? We're both ladies in our early 20s, both minors, just a year apart in age, and have been dating for approximately 4 months. So recently, I've been having some concerns about my long-distance relationship, and after talking about it with a close friend, whom I've also assisted in the past with their love troubles, I realized that it's not really working out. Please allow me to elaborate. So she has this tendency of having a terrible time with anything, whether it's about her family or anything else, and I try to comfort her, but she constantly dismisses my efforts as insincere. Does it seem like she brought it up but doesn't want me to say anything? She reacts weirdly and shuts me out until I give up and either shrug it off or, on one occasion, apologize for raising my concerns with her. She told me one day that she was shing and that her aunt wanted to remove her phone as a result of her behavior. She argued that everything was okay, that everything was normal, that everything had been happening for a long time, and so on. I was obviously worried about her and tried to comfort her, but she refused to listen. So, what am I supposed to do with this information? Do I have to accept that she's harming herself and that I'm too far away to be of any help to her? Another recent example is when my mother's concerns about our LDR turned into personal difficulties for me. Her response was to just let me read till I said something. I had poured my heart and soul into those essays. She just remarked, "I understand your concerns," and then disappeared until I'm sorry for something I shouldn't have had to apologize for until a few hours after she had disappeared. She won't even allow me to give her anything for Christmas, her birthday, or any other occasion, which is quite frustrating. So what else am I supposed to do in this relationship but watch the bizarre movies she sends me on a regular basis, be terrified when she gets furious but refuses to let me intervene, and say wily every now and then? I can't do it any longer, but I genuinely care for her, so I'm at a loss as to what to do next.